Hey guys, how you doing? This is D. Durrell with D. Durrell Life Solutions. I'm happy to be here once again to converse with you, to have a intellectual dialogue about a variety of topics that are not necessarily discussed all the time in this YouTube platform. So for today, I'm going to talk about another very interesting topic that deals with the black family. I focus a lot on it. And so what we're going to talk about is the proper ways to engage children into a blended family. Now, when we look at a blended family is basically comprising of a male or female, or if you're in a same-sex relationship in which you have been married or have children, or non-married and have children. And due to your union between both parties, when you decide to get married and combine your families together, you're basically having a situation in which both parties have children, and the opposite sides are now going to be step something to each other. The kids are going to be step brothers and step sisters, and the mother is going to become a stepmother. The father is going to become a stepfather. So what we want to talk about today is me outlining the proper way one should communicate this, bring the families together. Also, I think it's very important that in the communication and the understanding of the other parents who are not necessarily, who are kind of like in the outside looking in, who are also parents to the children, and how this household will be constructed, how this household will function with the other biological parents having some influence or having some understanding or being open to whatever is going on in that household. Now, as I talked about it, yes, it can appear to be a very complex scenario, very complex situation, because we're not just talking about two people who are uniting, but we're also talking about the previous people or multiple people that they've been involved with and had children for prior to both parties deciding to get married or get engaged. Now, as you all know, as a therapist, I've always talked about in many situations that it is important that if someone is going to get married or engaged, I talked about the importance of premarital counseling. I think in this situation where you have both parties having children and their exes, or those that have multiple fathers or mothers, for their children, it's very important that we outline how we're going to function and how those biological parents are going to be involved and have a say in things as far as their children, and making sure their children are in a safe environment. Also, there has to be a discussion as far as what the other parent, the non-biological parent, that's a stepfather, stepmother, what are the limitations of them raising their children, if there are any limitations, or an idea of how this person is going to function with their children if they trust that person with their children. So there's a lot of things that are talked about. But what I want to focus on is, how do we engage children into this? How do we get children to understand, hey, mom is dating a guy and they're serious, and this guy has 3 other children. Mom has 4 other children. They all want it. We all are. He is the primary custodial parent and has custody of all his children, his 3 children. The mom is the primary parent, and she has all 4 of her children. Okay, so there's a lot of different things. There's an array of possibilities as it involves 2 people who want to be with each other, and they come as a package with children, and also with the fact that these children have biological parents, mother or father, who want to know how this environment is going to function, and if it's going to be a household that is conducive to their children growing up in loving environments. This needs to be discussed. This is something that is, I think, is not talked about enough in our community, because there are many situations in which blended families don't work, particularly when the children are definitely young. When the children are really young, it can bring about a great deal of difficulty. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Not particularly when they're really young, but particularly when the children are actually teenagers, or at least adolescents, or kids that are like in, I would say, 8-9 years on up, where they're more verbal and they understand the environment around them, and they have, through those years, have developed a strong enough relationship with their father, if the father or mother is involved in their life, where they may have some difficulty adjusting to the new parent, the new step parent that's in their life, or that's going to presumably be in their life in the future. So one of the things I like to discuss as we kind of talk about this very, very complex situation is that I did a video earlier about what is the correct time, or what would be a appropriate time to allow children to know and interact with a person that you're dating. And I concluded, my professional opinion is that you don't allow children to know or get to know people that you don't want, that you have no I would say no reason to think, any inclination that this may be long term. And so when I think long term, if this is not a person that you think is marriage material, engagement to marriage material, they have no business being around your children. I think that is detrimental to the children's psychosocial development, that you put them in environments with people that are not worthy of their trust. Okay? Now I've talked about this in previous videos. So in my opinion, you should not, and I think that it's detrimental to the environment and the safety of the children, if you don't give that person at least 8 to 10 months and over. And particularly 8 to 10 months or over, that means that this relationship is serious. That means that you all may be thinking about marriage. You may be thinking about getting engaged. Definitely if engagement and marriage is talked about and imminent. So once that has been established, I think that it is important for the biological parents to tell the other parent that you're no longer with, or parents, multiple kids that you have, multiple other fathers or mothers, that, hey, I found someone that I think that is going serious. I want to be with them. This relationship may potentially be marriage. I am thinking about exposing this person to our children so that we can maybe do things together, and I trust him enough to at least be supervised in front of my children, our children, and I want to present this person to my children, and I want to know what they think or how they perceive him, because this is a person that I think is deemed worthy to marry and to be someone that I trust if we're married with my children, and to take care of them. So I think, to me, what I'm saying is that the initial stage, it should be where both parties who's in a serious relationship want to be together. They decide, and they have an understanding. And guys, come on, we can tell when we think something is going serious enough where you want to get married. The lines of communication should be there, particularly if that person is already just out the blue proposed to you. At this point, you bring this person to your children. I encourage the primary parent, or even if you're not the primary parent and you're in another situation, whoever you're bringing into your family, you talk to the other parent that you created these children with, and let them know, hey, I'm in a serious relationship. We may potentially get married. We're definitely going to possibly get engaged soon. We've been together for well over 10, 12 months, a year. this person is coming around. I want him around. I think this person is worthy to be around my children. I trust them enough to at least be around my children supervised. We're thinking about maybe moving in together, buying homes. We're making plans. You see, when you're in a serious relationship, you begin to make plans. You discuss that with the other partner, the other person that you create those children with. Let them understand that I will introduce this person to my child. Some situations, the person may not be okay with it. In many situations, they are, because you have a right to move on with your life just like they have. So in many situations, whether they like it or not, they're probably going to be okay with it. But in some situations, it all depends on how much you know and how much you present it to the person that you were previously with about this person to make them comfortable enough to be okay. I'm okay with this person being around my children. So that's up to the parties that are wanting to be in this relationship. Okay. So I just want to preface that. I want to preface that because, again, I think it's important that you discuss this prior to these, because what this is really about is the children engaging with the person that could potentially be their stepfather, and also interacting with the children that this potential stepfather or stepmother have. Because this is a blended family. A blended family comprises of children that are non-related and having stepfathers and stepparents that are not their biological parent. And they're all conjugating together under one household as one family. This is a blended family. Okay? Now, in some situations, some blended family, all the children don't live in the household. There's some that may live with their other parent. That's all different types of scenarios that can occur. But I'm going to present this in a manner in which all of the children are going to be like a Brady Bunch. They all had their previous situation. They're all going to live in one household. Okay? So that's the position I'm going to come from today, that we're going to presume that all children are going to be living in the household, and these children have their biological parents that they both care for and love. They have affectionate parents, and now they have this other person that they know little about is now supposed to be stepfather. Now it's going to be a person that is supposed to be a significant part of their life at this point. So the two parties interact. Again, they let the outside parents or parent know that they share the children with. And then it comes to a point where you let the children know. Okay? I think that is important that parents first let their children know, this is who I'm dating, you're going to meet him. I think that it's important that if you're a person, whoever the two parties are, I don't encourage that all the children and all the parents all meet at one time. I think that's a little bit too much. Most of the time I'm looking at it from a perspective of, this is a man that's a stepfather coming into a family where this woman already has children. I would encourage that the outside parent, the potential step parent, interacts with her children, and then she interacts with his children separately. And as you all are dating, the children become familiarized with you because you're thinking about getting married, you're thinking about getting engaged, and that's getting ready to happen. That's going to be a definite. This is a definite. You're seriously dating, interacting. You are at that place where you feel that this is definitely going to happen. Marriage is just a matter of not if, but when. So I encourage both parties who want to get married, that have similar prior situations, to see the children of the person you want to marry separately. You all set up family little date, do activities, and you do this over a 2 to 3 month period. Okay? At least a 2 to 3 month period of them seeing you routinely, becoming comfortable with you. Now I'm going to be honest with you. In this process, in this cross-interactional family interaction, the kids may not like this man. They may not warm up to you, regardless of if the relationship between the couple, this couple is great. The children may not like them. There may be something about the children they dislike. There may be things about this. These children may be disrespectful. These children may not show you any respect. They may become disrespectful. Then there may be things that the biological parent may question about you that they may think you're not giving the children enough attention. They may think that you're not showing them love. And I'm like, how can you expect them to show them enough love? You just get it. But these are the things that come up when people argue about children in these blended relationships. Treating all the children equally, which is impossible. You want to treat them all under the same rules, but treating all the children equally, they have to follow the same rules. But it's impossible to treat everybody the same. And I know this may be something you all don't agree with. And I know that early in my training, this was something that was discussed a lot. All children are not treated equally. They have to be, they're treated under the same rules and regulations, but based on how these children react to things, their personality, you have to treat certain children differently based on their behavior and their personality and how they perceive things and receive punishment, awards, and so forth. Okay, you want to treat them as far as the same, as far as not necessarily equal. It's hard to do that, but you can be consistent. You can be consistent with all children, because spankings for one child may not work for the other child. So you have to, decipher that. Okay, so at this point, we're now talking about the children. You're now interacting in this woman's home. The woman is now interacting with you and your children. And I'm assuming both parties have their children, even though most of the time that's not the case. Usually, most of the time, the man probably does not have custody of his children, or may have shared custody. But at the same time, you're spending time with his family. She's spending time with your family without your children, biological children, being involved. Okay, you do that for a few months. You gain some continuity, get to understand you, know you, they become comfortable with you. Comfortable enough that at some point, if there's not an engagement or if there's not marriage, these children should not be seeing each other and thinking they're going to be a family unless there's a ring on somebody and there's a marriage date. You are engaged or you getting married. I do not propose, as my professional opinion, you should not bring your children into a situation where they think they have other stepbrothers and they're going to live under this environment, under a different home and so forth, unless there's some things that are definitely going to happen. Meaning that you are engaged, meaning that you're definitely going to get married. You're now about to get married, and you have a date, and now these kids have been familiar with you by seeing you weekly or monthly for a certain period of time, which I talked about 2 to 3 months of them already knowing you're there and you're serious about marrying their mother, or you're serious about marrying their son. Their mother or their father. Okay? And again, there may be issues that may come up as regards to them accepting you as an authority. There may be issues with, a lot of times, is that the outside parent that's not a part of this union may have issues, reservations about the person that's going to be around their biological children. Again, blended families are very, very complex, and it presents a infinite amount of scenarios that may make it difficult for this relationship to function at an optimal level. But that's the steps that I talked about. Okay, first I talked about the two parties definitely being serious. Then they talking to the parents of the children that they created those children with. Then once that okay occurs, basically the outside person goes into the other person's family with their biological children. You spend time with your boyfriend's children. Your boyfriend spends time with his girlfriend's children, and when there's a point of which you all are going to get engaged. Once you do that and become comfortable over a few months, then you consider getting married, or can consider getting engaged. And then upon engagement or marriage, then you can create scenarios of everybody being as a blended family prior to marriage, or prior to marriage, where you all are interacting and getting to know your your future step, whatever it may be, mother, father, brother, sister, on both ends. And you do that prior to you getting married. Okay. Now, some people wait till after they get married. Okay. I would advise prior to, so that the children can gain some relationship with each other, knowing that their parents are definitely going to get married. Again, the key word is that getting married or getting engaged and getting married is a definite event. It's going to be a definite situation that we know is going to happen in all likelihood. Nothing is guaranteed, but we know it's pretty much a 90% chance, 95% chance this is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. The planning has been there. Again, we've slowly took steps for everybody to get to know each other. And I also include that in some of these meetings, it's okay for the parent that produced those children with you to even be involved in some of these family events and family interaction, so everybody can be comfortable with each other. Everybody can get to know each other. Okay? Now, in this, there's a lot of different dynamics that can happen with the children and the opposing parent. Both the parents, both of the outside parents with their current parent, they may not like certain rules and regulations. They may not like that, this guy may not like that this other man has different types of rules, religion. It could be an array, an endless amount of issues, but those things can be worked out. That's why I talked about 2 to 3 months or more, okay, to do those things, iron those things out. It may take a little longer in some situations. And then to a point where you're getting engaged, getting married, now you can allow those children to all interact with each other, and then they can develop a relationship, okay? Once that relationship is built, you all decide, hey, we're going to move into this nice 5-6 bedroom house, 3 bath. You all are going to have to share rooms or whatever, and this is what it's going to be. Then they start making decisions based on age, based on, who they want to interact with, based on the relationship of the children. I think that it is tantamount to any relationship of a blended family to last is that those children get along with each other and those children grow to have a close relationship with each other, where they are able to function and obey both parents equally. Not equally, but they are able to obey both parents equitably like they're supposed to. It's equitable. Okay? There has to be equity in how on both ends, your biological children, his biological children, they both respect both of you as the supervising parents, and they're going to show respect. Again, there could be issues of the father or the mother telling you, well, you shouldn't do this, and if you're at my house, you wouldn't get those. Again, those things can be ironed out between the parents, because if he's playing stepfather, that means that he's taking care of you, he's feeding, clothing, sheltering you, you're under his care. So that means you have to follow his rules. Same thing, if she's your stepmother, that means you're going to eat her cooking, you're going to have to do things that she require as a mother, and she's going to be there for you like a mother should be for her own biological children, for her stepchildren. That's the reality. Okay? Now, there's also other things that can come across as far as visitation, how we spend holiday. All those things can be worked out and discussed. But again, that's why I talked about how you go about interacting with each party in each step. The first stage is, again, we're talking about the two people that want to get together, then the partners that they previously had, because they're all understanding, hey, I love this man or woman, I'm going to marry her, I think it's going to happen, I just want to let you know your children are in good hands. You're going to have a chance to get to know them through this process. We're going to slowly allow me to spend time with his family, he spends time with my family, then we're going to create such scenarios if you can come in towards the time we decide to make this official, and we all can get to know each other and show respect and have a happy blended family. There's a lot of families like this in the United States. Okay, this is a modern family. Most families have some level of blending in it. I think the minority of families is that both parties didn't have children prior to them having a family together, and who knows, in their union they may have another child where it's a child that they created together, and then that creates a whole nother set of scenarios. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this to give everybody an understanding of what I think would be an effective way to manage and to cultivate a blended family without all the stress. You see, notice in each step, I talked about how both parties are communicating. You're communicating with each other. You're communicating with your previous partners. You're communicating with your children. Then it's at a point where who's going to be the future step parent is going to be communicating with that family and vice versa. And then you bring in our other outside parents once there's a marriage that's getting ready to occur. Everybody has a full understanding of everybody and the rules and how we're going to operate as a whole. And then who knows how the results will come about. Hopefully it will be a lifelong functional marriage. Okay, so please guys, I know this was a bit much. I know there's a lot of information I talked about. I know the complexity of it. You're looking at who's who and who's what and how they should interact. Please leave comments in the comment section. I do think this particular issue in itself, I will do multiple videos on this, kind of simplifying it a little bit. I know I've talked about it as a whole, but I do think that it is important that we kind of dissect a little further how stepfathers are treated. On how stepfathers are treated, and then we're going to look at how stepmothers are treated and the parenting and so forth. So with that being said, guys, this is D. Durrell Life Solutions. Have a great day.